In the depths of Russia, a mother grizzly and her young bear cubs were attempting to kayak across a very cold lake. Despite her initial hope, the mother bear was quickly confronted with the reality of how tough crossing the lake would be. She was, of course, a better swimmer than her two young cubs. What she did next defies all of our preconceived notions about maternal instinct. This is a story that will shatter your heart, so make sure to subscribe and to keep your notification bell always turned on. There is no stronger relationship than that which exists between a mother and her children. However, the narrative of the mother bear and her cubs will go against everything we think we know about mother-child love. The freshwater Lake Voyager is located in Russia's northeastern corner, and it is here that the mother bear's narrative takes place. It's not unexpected that temperatures can drop to -20 degrees Celsius or about -4 degrees Fahrenheit, given its location. Animals are sometimes in the same boat, and in this story, the mother bear understands this as she and her two cubs attempt to cross a frozen lake. What she didn't anticipate, though, was how terrible it would be for her two young cubs. The lake is being crossed. So, as the mother bear attempted to cross the lake, she plunged in with her two cubs on her back and drowned. She was confident that the babies would be able to accompany her, but it was apparent from the start that the cubs would not be able to keep up with their mother's speed. She, too, realized that her children might not survive. Something incredible happened at this point. Just as all hope seemed to be lost and the cubs were on the verge of drowning, a boat emerged to save the day. Any human would have yelled for the people on the boat to come and save them, but the cubs were incapable of doing so. Fortunately, those on board the ship were aware of the situation and were prepared to assist. At the same time, the cubs spotted the boat and began swimming towards it, possibly believing it to be their saviors. As they came closer, they noticed how exhausted the cubs appeared to be as they struggled to swim. The fishermen may not have intended for this to happen when they headed out for the day's catch, but they couldn't leave the cubs to drown. The fishermen reacted quickly, but before they could begin rescuing the cubs, they realized the mother bear was still nearby. While waiting for the mother bear to leave the cubs' premises, the fishermen began to plan how to get the exhausted cubs out of the frigid waters. In today's world, where videos like these go viral, one of the fishermen decided to start filming what was happening on and dashed to his phone to catch every second of the rescue. The young bear cub was anxiously attempting to climb into the boat, but he was too small to raise up over the side, and furthermore, he was fatigued from swimming and treading water. After the rescue, the fishermen were cited as stating that they couldn't look the other way and determined that it was their responsibility to do everything in their power to save the cubs who were in grave danger of drowning to death, and something incredible happened at that same time. One of the fishermen made eye contact with the cub who had buried his teeth into the side of the boat. It was almost as if they were communicating in a way that demonstrated their ability to trust one another. The cubs were pulled from the mother bear's back by a strong river going through the lake. Once the cubs were separated from their mother, she had no choice but to continue swimming to the opposite side, hoping that her cubs would follow and they would all reach dry land together. The lake was bitterly cold, and the cubs were running out of energy and sorely needed assistance. It was a difficult situation. The newborn cubs were going through a rough patch. It's difficult to comprehend how they felt when they realized their lives were in grave danger. We must imagine they were afraid and desperately paddling to save their life. Just as they were about to give up hope, the fishermen were worried that they wouldn't be able to save the cubs, so they had to use all of their effort to keep tugging. Slowly but steadily, the fishermen moved the first cub closer to the boat's deck. The first bear cub had boarded the vessel. They pulled it off. Despite the fact that only half of the assignment had been completed, they had already succeeded once, so they knew how much work it would take this time. However, they were willing to risk it in order to save the second cub. The cubs were now secure with the fishermen on board the boat, and the fishermen had done a thorough examination of them thus far. It didn't take long for them to notice that the cubs were in serious trouble. It could have been the cold, or they could have been scared.